welcome, welcome, welcome to Coffee with a Leader. My name is Anissa Crespo. I am the president of Global Women of Impact, and I am so excited to be joined by the beautiful Sonia Hashimi this afternoon. And if this is your first time joining us, please let us know in the chat. In the comments, if you're live watching this, let us know that you're live. Let us know who you are, where you're from, what you do. We're so excited to have you with us. And if you're not familiar with Global Women of Impact, we want to let you know that we truly believe in the power of diverse women coming together to create real, lasting change. And that's exactly why Global Women of Impact was born, out of a deep desire to bridge cultural gaps and build a strong, united community of women who uplift and empower each other. And our mission is simple but powerful. We just want to connect. We want to strengthen. We want to unite women of all backgrounds so that we can make a meaningful impact in our communities. And we're also here to create opportunities for women so they can achieve economic independence, build wealth, break down barriers, and step into leadership roles with confidence and purpose. So it's more than just networking, it's about collaborating, advocating for our rights, dismantling biases, and supporting one another in business and beyond. And together we are building a global movement of inspiring women who are making waves and shaping a better future for generations to come. So if this speaks to you, then you belong here. You're in the right place. And let's jump right into the reason why we all came, Sonia Hashimi. So Sonia, welcome. How are you today?
Thanks for having me. I'm wonderful. Thanks. How are you, Anissa?
I am wonderful as well. So, if you could just share a little bit about who you are, what you do, a little bit about your journey, and all the things.
Thank you so much for having me on. It's been a great journey being part of Global Women of Impact. I have made friends that are I know will be lifelong friends for me. And the friendship is amazing, but it's been an amazing way of connecting and empowering other women. I'm a mortgage broker. I've been in the real estate industry for way too, not too long, but very long time, over 20 years, not to age myself. And it's been an incredible industry for me. I recently got married about a year ago, but I was a single mom for over 14 years prior to that. And I chose to be single because I have three daughters and a son, and I wanted to make sure that they grew up in an environment where my attention was not that that's the right or wrong thing to do for my family. That was the right decision. And during that time, had it not been for the real estate mortgage industry, I may not have had been able to give him the life that I did. And I'm grateful that I was able to have financial freedom because of the career that I'm in.
Yeah, absolutely. That resonates with me because I was raised by a single mom, and she was in the mortgage business for over 30 years. And it was the same thing. Like she just wanted to do whatever she possibly could to provide a great life for myself and my brother. And the mortgage industry, it ebbs and flows, right? It's ups, it's downs, it's all around. So I'd love for you to just share a little bit about what inspired you to start Loans with Sonia and what challenges you face as a woman in a traditionally male dominated industry.
I, you're absolutely right. It is a male dominated industry. And I think as women, we have to stand out. We have to claim our ownership of our piece of pie within the industry or any industry. And the reason I chose Loans with Sonia for my company name is to be distinguished that I am a woman run company, that my goal is to help everyone, but specifically women. I would love to see more women homeowners as we approach and become investors. I think I see men very dominantly coming in and putting an offer in or negotiating a deal. I would love to give that power, to be able to work with women to have that power to come in and say, I'm strong in my finances. I have assets. I can come in and compete with the best of them. So that
Yeah.
the specific reason why I chose Loans with Sonia is being a mortgage broker, I have the ability to compete with many different lenders. So we can go out and shop around different financing options. But the reason I put my name in there is for to let women know that it's a friendly environment for them to work with me.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. I was in a male dominated industry for over 10 years. And I was constantly doing this dance of being not being too aggressive, but trying to be assertive and making sure that my voice was heard. And you have to kind of finesse it a little bit. But once you find your way and you step into your power, I found my way, and it you have to command a certain respect, right? So I love what you're doing. I love that you have, built your own company, your own brand. It's really showing other women like what's possible, right? When you just believe in yourself and say, I'm going to be the change, here's what I'm going to do, and here's how I'm going to help other women. So talk to us a little bit about um, home financing, what the process is. It's definitely overwhelming, especially for first time buyers. So like what's a common misconception people might have about getting a mortgage?
I think the biggest thing I see is a lot of people think you have to have 20% down, or you have to have so much assets, or my credit score has to be over 720. Those are the main things I hear. I would say the best thing to do is start early. Start with a loan officer, a mortgage broker in my situation. If you're thinking about purchasing a home in the next 6 months, a year, or even 2 years, let's have the conversation. I'll do a soft pull on your credit to see where your credit score is. If we need to work on that, I'm more than happy to work with that. I have down payment assistance programs to where if someone doesn't have enough assets, completely fine. We can have there are different ways you can, come up with the assets. Some of them are just completely gifts that you can take and refinance in 3 months from now if you choose to. Other down payment assistance programs, or you may have to pay it back, but at least it gets you into a home. So we have many different options for the first time home buyers. And especially women of different backgrounds. I think a lot of times we leave that to the husband or the male in our family to kind of deal with that. But we're more than 50% of the world's population. Why give up so much power? So I think in our industry, we can come in and make things happen. I think it's easier than buying a car. As long as you put the steps in place, fix the credit if there is something that needs to be fixed, the assets, we can work it out. And so there are loans for people that don't even have income. As long as they have a company, or there are different rules to it. Of course, you have to be able to prove that you can pay the loan back. But there are
Sure.
different options that we can work with. So it's
Yeah,
very doable.
I love that. And, I love that you say like it's easier than buying a car. It's so true because a lot of people do. They have like these barriers up and they're like, well, I can't buy a house. I don't have $20,000 or, 40,000, whatever it is. And there are so very many options out there. And, we don't have to box ourselves into like, oh, okay, it's 20% down. Like, yes, okay, maybe for a conventional property, so talk to us a little bit about that, right? There's different types of loans, FHA, VA, conventional. What advice would you give for somebody who has no idea what any of these terms mean or which loan is best for them or even what they could potentially qualify for?
Absolutely. So there are many different first time programs. We have the conventional first time programs. FHA is basically geared for first time buyers, but people that have purchased with it can also, you can even buy a second FHA home if you need to. The down payment is 3.5%. And then also there's two segments to it. There's a down payment and then there's a closing cost. So the down payment, we have programs where we can help them. I always say there's nothing as such thing as a anything free in our industry or any industry. So there's a payback. The rates might be a little bit higher, but there are also recently working a lot more with the Orange County, down payment assistance program, which actually can, depending on the income of the individual, they can go up to $70,000.
Wow.
We can go up to, there's a second tier which is 40,000 and then 10,000, depending on income and neighborhoods and things. So we can figure that out. But there are programs that can come in and help. As far as the conventional loan goes, usually the score is a little bit higher, VX80, 720 score, we generally speaking will go into a conventional loan. You can most of the time buy more of a home with an FHA loan than a conventional. But there's reasons why FHA can allow you to buy more of a home. There's insurance involved, upfront insurance and monthly insurance. Then also, if those are for the primary home purposes, if you choose to buy an investment property, we have full documented that those are generally 15 to 20% down on an investment property. You can have income, or you can, or if you own a primary home now and want to buy an investment property, there are many different options where you don't have to show any income. And that works best for business owners. So if a lot of us, me included, we don't want to pay every penny to taxes at the end of the year. So a lot of times the CPA will come in and I give them a lot of deductions. That's completely fine. You can even send me your 12 months bank statements where it shows that your business did make the money. I will never ask for your personal taxes. So there are ways where we can, work with you. The best thing I can say is I always say your credit score is my lifeline in this industry. That's one thing I always say, take care of your credit score. I see so many people that will have very small collections, maybe $100, $50 go in because they forgot a medical bill, or that somebody didn't agree with, Comcast, or somebody didn't want to pay the bill because they thought it was too much. Pay it, clear it, because if you don't pay it, it will go on your credit and it can cost you thousands in the long run. But I do help with credit as well. So if somebody has any questions with that, they're welcome to call me. I'll say my phone number, so then that way they can call me, we can talk about it. It's 407-403-8658. Call me anytime. If you have any questions regarding how to approach the process, I'm happy to go through the details.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love that you have so many flexible options, and especially for women, right? Because we sometimes need our options. Like, let's say, what would you say to a woman who's like maybe coming out of a divorce and, she thinks that she can't, and maybe, some people, everybody's situation is different, right? Like, some people have cash but not credit, some people have credit but no cash. So like, what advice would you give to somebody in that kind of a situation where, a woman's on her own, maybe she's the one income household? What would you say to her?
I love that you say that because we run into so many different scenarios, and like we have to have, and then it's, you have to have either assets or credit score or income. I see a lot of people that want to do it, that want to purchase a home, but they don't have your ducks in a row. If you don't have enough of an income or not enough assets, should I say, let's make sure you can let the lender know, hey, I pay my bills on time. I may not have, enough money in my account, but I will pay my bills. I'm super responsible. I always say to my borrowers, see it as, as you are being the lender. If someone came to you and their credit score was 550, none of the bills were paid, you probably wouldn't think they're going to pay me back. So it's all about building credibility with a lender, and they want to make sure that the money they lend out comes back to them. They're in it for making money. So when you approach anything in our life, make sure that you're prepared. I think not being prepared will not get you anywhere, whether it's starting your day in the morning. If you don't have a clear plan of what you're going to do that day, you may not get most of your things done. So if you're looking to purchase a home, plan it out in advance. Take the steps to be ready. We have people like me, people like, I know you know a lot of realtors that are very knowledgeable about the process. They will connect you with the right lender that can have different options. And unfortunately, in my industry, not every lender wants to do these different programs. They may have their specific things they work on. So finding the right lender is a very important aspect. My company and the company that I'm with, we have over almost 2,000 loan officers. So we're a very strong company. If we go to a lender and say we need something, they may give us a little more leeway. They might give me better rates. They might give me a lower specialized programs that they may not give it to a company that may have 10 loan officers. That's not giving them enough business. So choosing the right lender, the right realtor that knows how to negotiate is very much a key in this industry. Yesterday, I had a young lady come to me, and she was referred to me by one of my favorite realtors. She said, do I have to choose that realtor to work with? And I said, absolutely not. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to. This is, at the end of the day, our goal is to make sure you reach your goal of becoming a homeowner. However, the realtor that you do choose, make sure they know how to negotiate. Make sure they know the neighborhood where you want to work. I think her sister was a realtor maybe 2 hours away who would come down and show her a home here and there. I don't think you're doing yourself justice by using a family member or a friend only because they're in the industry. Choose a professional that knows their skills.
Yes, I couldn't agree with you 100%. Yes, I couldn't agree with you more. And something you said about, having the right, not only the right lender, but also the right realtor. When you are in the game of buying or selling a home, I think it's critical to have everybody playing for the same team. So, when you're dealing with your mortgage lender, your attorney, your realtor, whoever's doing, like, everybody in your deal needs to communicate and be on the same page. Otherwise it can be an absolute mess. I learned that in my journey. I've bought and sold my fair share of homes, and I learned that along the way. Like, you definitely want to have everybody on the same team. And the nice thing is, when you're in this industry, you have referrals for all of these people. Like, this is the best person I can recommend for this, because some people just don't know who to go to, and they might ask a friend or ask Google, or, it's always, when you're dealing with directly with a lender or a realtor, get referrals, because I think that goes such a long way. And, the other thing that you said so many times is that you're flexible. Like, if somebody is not sure, or maybe their credit is not up to par, maybe they have to get up to a 580 or a 620 or whatever the number is, still ask the questions, like, what do I need to do? Because you're going to work with them to say, okay, do this, this, and this, and here's how to get your credit where it needs to be. And then we can look at maybe paying this off or doing that. Like, there's so many different options, right?
Absolutely. You said it exactly right. I do some credit repair, but I also have a preferred person or a couple of them that I send them to knowing they will do it very quickly, or within that I can count on their work. So if a lot of people, like you said, they ask their parents or someone that is not an expert in this industry, they ask their opinion, but they'll maybe strayed the wrong way. A lot of parents thought that there you have to have 20%. I get people pre-approved that go back to the parents, and the parents always wants to be the hero, and we want to protect our children. So a lot of times they end up like almost having straying them away from what we know that the right thing to do. So trusting the person in the industry is very vital. If I'm going to ask you for your bank statements or social security number, or your very personal information, I do want to build that trust. And being a broker, I am not the lender directly. I'm the middle person. So to me, give me everything that openly communicate with me, so then that way I can trust which lender or which the right loan product option may be. And communication, like you said, is such a huge piece of this whole. There are so many people involved. So I start with the pre-approval process. The next step, I will send your pre-approval letter to your realtor. That realtor will go out and find a home that fits your needs, that's based on your monthly payment and your down payment, all that criteria based on maybe you have children going to a specific school. So all the communication needs to be upfront, so that realtor knows exactly where to look. Do you want HOA? Do you not want that HOA? Do what are the intricacies of every transaction? So that open communication, and whenever they speak with me, I have a conversation with my realtors. This is specifically what their interest is. Maybe they're downsizing after having the large home. Then they would need to go in and find a home that's in an area where they can we have walkability needs to different stores, whatnot. So communication, being open with me, going to the realtor will communicate with the seller's agent. Then the title company gets involved. That's the next step. The title company will be the one that will make sure the title is clear, make sure that there aren't any liens on the property. And they kind of come in and put all the pieces together at the end and close the loan. So there are different steps as far as the realtor usually. So it starts with me, goes to the realtor. The realtor will negotiate the contract. They will work with me to make sure that the closing costs are sufficient. Maybe we need to ask the seller to contribute to closing costs. Maybe we need to go to a down payment assistance program. Maybe they have all of their assets in a row and they can get a really good rate. So we communicate with back and forth, making sure the property fits the buyer's needs. The next step will go to an inspector. The inspector will look at the home to make sure it passes all the requirements of the lender and it's a safe home. On FHA, we have a little more, more guidelines when it comes to the inspection, which is connected to the appraisal as well. So all those people that get involved need to have that detailed communication. Once
Yeah.
the inspection is done, then that's when I order the appraisal. The appraisal comes in and gives me the value of the home. The lender wants to make sure that this home that you're purchasing is worth the money that they're lending you. So it needs to be based on the contract. And there's, and then also the one other step of the appraisal process is they want to make sure that the home is safe also. If a
Mm.
window is broken, they will say that needs to be corrected. If, there has to be sinks, there has to be countertops, the flooring. We come into all these different details that needs to be in place before we can close. And then the other part is that the communication aspect is when I ask for documents, we never ask for anything unless it's really needed. Sometimes the borrower will say that's too many documents, but then I say if somebody's giving you $500,000, they want to make sure that every aspect is checked off.
Sure.
So all that, it's a teamwork. It takes about 30 days roughly from beginning to the end. So I literally hold hands with my buyers, with my borrowers, with the realtor, with the title company, with the borrowers to make sure it gets to the end. And the only time it truly, truly works out is if you have open communication and trust. It has
Yeah.
to come down to that. There might be things that the lender may want that the borrower doesn't agree with, but it's not a time to say go back and forth. Let's work together to accomplish it. So we do a lot of delayed work for the borrowers. If I need to go to the county get certain documents, I'll do it. If I need to go shop around for an insurance company for the borrower, I'll do it. I try not to give them as much work as as possible, but there are certain documents that they have to work with us, and most of the time it only really truly works out when they're on it. No matter what we ask for, we kind of work together and get to the closing table.
Yeah.
But
And yeah, you said something so key. It's like the trust. You have to trust the person that you're working with. I know Sonia personally, she is very trustworthy. I would definitely trust her with my transactions. Um, so definitely reach out to her. So let's talk about a little hot button item because I think that sometimes people watch the news and they hear about interest rates and they take things for not so much face value and not really what they mean. So obviously real estate markets fluctuate, right? Interest rates go up, they go down. How do you help your clients navigate these changes and make confident decisions?
that's such a good question, and I'm so glad you asked it right now. With all the changes that are happening in the United States right now, and so many, and they may be great, they may not be. That's not a matter of, my opinion about any of that. The great thing is rates are dropping right now. Rates are doing really well right now. Last 2 days, they have been doing phenomenal. When I say phenomenal, we were touching seven and a half rates a few months ago. Now we're in the sixes and possibly fives. So they are dropping and it's going in the right direction. When something happens out in the economy, usually it helps us. So when the stock market is staggering down, it actually helps us a little bit. When they say rates are dropping, when the Fed say we took a quarter off or we went down by a quarter, on the lender side, we usually guys start getting prepared for that a little bit ahead of time. So a lot of people say, hey, I'm going to wait for the feds to say what the rates are. Those rates drops are from bank to bank overnight transferring and borrowing money, or overall. It could be for car payments. It could be for overall. That's a general, it's a very vague term to say. When they drop the rates doesn't mean we drop the rates. We're more connected with the 10-year bond. So we will keep an eye out. If somebody wants to purchase a home now, we will keep an eye out on the rates. If I have a few loans in now that I ask them, this is the rate today. Do you want to lock? If rates change throughout the day, I'll call my borrower. This is the rate. Do you want to lock? If I hear news that it might be trending up, I'll let them know it's possible. We don't know for sure, but rates are doing well. the we're picking up. We're getting very, very busy in the last month or so. So I think people are getting excited with the changes. People are getting their tax returns, so they have more money for down payment. Um, you're always going to need a home. One of the reasons you want to buy a home the reason I buy homes is I look at the equity. If I buy an investment property and the monthly payment is equal or almost equal to what my mortgage payment is, I will take it because I know in the long run the equity almost always goes up. They might have dips, but it always goes up. I purchased a home maybe 2 years ago, I bought it for 300,000. Now it's touching 400,000, and the renters are paying off the mortgage. So I haven't put hardly any money into it. I made sure the roof was in good condition. That's my biggest item that I look out for because it's the biggest expense if you have to replace it. But other items, I don't worry too much about as long as it's in a good location. It's make sure the structure is fine. Make sure that inspector you trust is going to come in and do a really good thorough inspection. But buying a property overall is one of the best vehicles for financial stability in the long term.
I
That's it.
agree with you. I agree with you 100%. I think it is the best vehicle for generational wealth. And I think where a lot of people get lost on it is they buy an investment property and then all of a sudden the market shifts and they are not prepared to ride out the wave. So I think as long as you're in a position to ride out the wave, it's absolutely going to appreciate. Like that is just fact. If you look at the past 100 years, that's just the way it is, right? So it's a great way. Now a lot of us watching, I'm sure, are entrepreneurs, business owners. So talk to us women about what strategies you recommend for self-employed individuals looking to purchase an investment property or even a primary residence.
Business owners, absolutely, that's such a. I specialize in out of the box lending. I mean, I always do the FHAs and VAs and conventional. Of course, those are the majority of what comes in. But I work with a lot of investors also. My best vehicle is my rates are better if I can get documents. If you're a business owner and you have 12 months of assets coming in, but you don't want to put it on your taxes, if I have 12 months, they only count the assets coming in. They don't count necessarily the withdrawals. There are different tiers that they can calculate that on. If you have consistently 15,000 coming in, say for your business, and all of a sudden you have a 25,000 drop, they would want to know what that is. So you have to be able to explain those things. I have another loan option too where it's just literally a 1099. If you're a contractor and you have a 1099, I can only use that. I have a profit and loss where your CPA just writes a letter. They made this much money. This is their expenses. It's a CPA letter, as simple as that. That can be counted as a semi-documented loan. And then we have something called the DSCR. The DSCR basically counts the income coming in from that property. Those are the 15 to 20% down, as they will count that as the income to finance the home. So I never ask for any documents. For investment, then we have hard money lenders as well. So if we have to have the conversation, you could say, hey, Sonia, I made a certain amount last year. I think it's more than enough to buy an investment property. Let's look at the documents. I'll give you a pre-approval letter. I go as far as fully getting the loan underwritten before I give a pre-approval letter if I think somebody needs it. So I calculate the whole process. When we give a pre-approval letter, they're almost as good as being approved. So that's another thing is choosing your lender. I know many lenders that will have a conversation, get a couple documents, send out a pre-approval letter, and may or may not close. We want to make sure that we don't waste anyone's time. I look out for my realtors. I think my realtors are front of the line people. They go out, they negotiate, they're the one in the car driving, and no one gets paid until we close. So it's me being in the middle. I want to do that honor for them to make sure that their time is not spent. And for the borrower too, who wants to spend 6 weeks to 30 days on a process and not go anywhere. It hurts everybody involved. So we want to make sure that process is thorough, is detailed, but there are so many options now that I don't think that if you want to become an investor. So the way I do it, when I started, I purchased a home, and this was, over 20 years ago. Purchased a home that was in Virginia. I bought it for 369. I ended up selling it for 670, I believe, or close to it. So I had enough assets in there. Then I split that assets into a couple, like three different properties, 20% down on each one. And so that's how I was able to add to it and increase, improve my portfolio, should I say, or increase the homes. There are different ways of doing it. You can get a gift from a family member. There are so many different ways to do it. So I think it's having the strength to make that decision, to stand your ground. I think as women, we depend a lot finances for our husbands or the males in our home. If you could make a plan beginning of the year, as you remember, we do an annual vision board meeting, get together. At that point, I like to, it's nice to get together, say what our goals are. Maybe a goal of buying a property once a year might be an amazing goal, so I think there are a lot of options. It's the point of making a decision to actually do it.
Yes. Oh my gosh, I love that. I did. I attended at Sonia's house. We had a vision board party. It was amazing. These are some of the things that we do, like Global Women of Impact women. We get together, we do these amazing things. I have my vision board posted right up here. I have accomplished almost 90% of the vision board, and it's only first quarter is done. So
Good for
I'm
you.
proud. I'm proud. I'm very excited when you're surrounded by really amazing women who are uplifting one another, supporting one another, saying, how can I help you get to your next goal? That's what we're all about, right? So and just want to share a personal story. So, my very first investment property that I ever bought, I was young. I was not educated about anything really about it. And I thought it would be a great idea to purchase it with cash. So, instead of putting $20,000 down on 5 properties, paid cash for this property, and we made money on it and everything like that. But these are some of the things that your lender can help you with and kind of coach you with, and your broker, I should say, is the best way to go about it, because there are so many different options. There are so many different ways you can go, and we're grateful for everything that you do. So I want to know, what advice would you give to other women, especially those from marginalized backgrounds who are interested in pursuing a career in the finance or real estate industries?
It's one of the most rewarding careers I've ever not this is pretty much all I have done, to be honest with you. Before real estate, I did, what everybody does. I owned a restaurant, and I think I had a title company for a few years, but I worked my fair share of Macy's and all those good things. And I think all that came together and I'm a psych major, so I think that degree with inner, building skills on communicating with different people of different backgrounds. I'm obviously from a different, part of the world. I count myself as an American now because I've been here my whole life. And as much as, Afghanistan is where I was born, I've been here since 1982. This is how I think. I don't think like an Afghan anymore. I think like an American now. But we all come from different backgrounds. I carry with me the lessons my parents taught me being an Afghan person. So sometimes we may have challenges of, self-worth. I have my mom never bought a house on her own. How do I do it? I'm a single mom. How do I get the nerve to actually, make a decision to buy a home? We have in people like, in all of us here, we may work our 9 to 5s and not ever save enough money to buy a home. People that are raised in US and are, say American or however you want to, I don't see. I think if you're in America, you have the same opportunities regardless of our background. So it's our inner healing and our inner, mindset that may helps us decide, do I come in and is this an industry that's right for me? Do I have I started the way my personal journey was when I got divorced, um, 14 years ago. I went and worked for a bank for a few years. I did many, different things, but I ended up going to worked at a big bank just to get started in the industry, just to get some experience. And I love the steady income and the 401k and all those good things. In 2020, in July of 2020, I decided to go on my own, and I was really scared. I was so scared that, my children will not have health insurance. I will not have the 401k. They were giving me a minimum, base salary, and I was done hanging on to that. I hired a personal coach, and I said, help me jump over this hurdle for me. He said, Sonia, if you don't make any money in the next 3 months, will you be on the street? And I said, no, I have some money saved. So and he shared a story with me. He said, "Don't be the bird in the golden cage to where you're safe and you get to stay locked in. Open the door, and if you don't fly out, you're not going to realize, what's out there." Within 3 months, I made more money than I did in the whole year before. But I think personally, the only reason I was able to do that, 3 to 6 months, I should say, is I was so hungry for it. I was up till late at night, and I'm realizing if I don't put the work in, and not that it's always the hustle mentality, but when you start something, you really have to put your time in. You have to make it your passion. You can't do anything halfway. My kids think it's funny how dedicated I am to my work, but that's, being a single mom of 4 children, their life depended on me doing well. So I think when you get that hunger in you, you can accomplish anything. This industry will make you more money than a hard. I mean, sure, being an investment banker and different things can make you money as well. But the mortgage industry will give you the stability where you can stay home if you have little ones and work. You don't have to stay. If you have to move to a different state, completely fine. You can work in a different state. I have an office I go to now, which I'm an in-house lender for one of the, one real estate company, but I have a ton of other realtors I work with also. So it's one of those industries that will give you the freedom, but it depends on how much time you put into it.
Oh,
I'm happy to work with anybody that wants to get in the industry. I mentor 25 people now, and I do a weekly call. I'm starting to do more of a hands-on training because my job as a mentor is to help structure a loan. But I've noticed a lot of people don't know how to get their footing in the industry. So I will start a weekly meeting with them moving forward to where we can go and how do you get leads? How do you connect with realtors? How do you come in and pre-approve somebody? How make sure you structure a loan that's, that realtor will come back to you a second time. So it's one of the, to me, this is all I really know. My dad was a broker, real estate broker, way back in the 70s and 80s. So this is what I know all in all. But I'm passionate about it. I think it's one of the best ways to get financial freedom.
yeah, I agree with you. I love it. I love your journey. I love your story. I love you. Oh my goodness. So I have one last question for you. So you are a founding member of Global Women of Impact, which we are so grateful for. So what can you tell us about your experience so far, and what would you advise our viewers who are watching and not sure if this might be the right space for them or not?
I could have, how you always look for home, like your heart is where your home is kind of thing. Global Women of Impact connected with people, especially, with Mona, which I love. Yourself, you're so dedicated to what you do, and you're so on point with being organized and being a giver. So in this circle, this is home for me. This is my comfort. I can reach out to you. I can reach out to Mona. We talk all the time about things that are not related to anything work or not work related, just to connect. So you'll meet women who will become your friends, who you'll meet women will be there for you in your journey. They'll support you. They will guide you in the direction that you may need, you may not be your strength. So with Anissa, I know that you are amazing with helping entrepreneurs. You're amazing with building ways of making money and growing your wealth and guiding women in the sense of providing your expertise. I love our connection. I love every person that I have met in the group. And whenever I'm in one of the meetings, I learn something new all the time. So I think and you're not really giving anything to be part of this. This is a journey. This is a circle of sisterhood to where you can literally take so much from, and but it's like anything else, you will take out of it what you put into it. But all we need is open hearts, trust, and connection to give back to each other. So it's one of the best places I can call home.
I couldn't have said it better myself, and I agree so much. Thank you, thank you. Sonia, thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate you sharing all about yourself and your business and your journey and the industry and being able to help women out there. That's really what it's all about. If you're tuning in with us, thank you so much for taking the time out of your day for watching. We so appreciate you. I hope you have enjoyed this session today. We will be doing this regularly, so look out for our events, follow our page. If you want more information, feel free to visit our website, drop a comment, send us a DM, and we will see you very soon. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Have a great day.